If you've ever spent your Sunday doing projects around the house all day, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook as we kick off a new month here. It is June 1st. So Monday, June 1st, new week, new day, new month, all happening today. Do we see inflows today like we are expecting? We shall see. Should be a fun one here today. We're back in full swing. We've got the producer back with us, so I'm not trying to do everything and then screwing up here. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good day. We've got some news to break down. Got some stocks to talk about. We got a Monday guest for you. Going to be a great week. That is for sure. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Monday edition for June 1st, 2026, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. I know anyone that is a Spurs fan and a Knicks fan is ready to go for this week. That's for sure. We're back to kick off a new month here. Summer is here. Smiles all across the board. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. And we start with Cam here today, who's first. Cam, the like has already been smashed. Blessings. Let's go. Follow Cam's lead. Please smash up the like. It is free and it is an easy way to help us. And you can help us exploit that algorithm and get more people into our amazing community. Cam, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome back. Derek, good morning. Welcome back. Clip Captain. Clip Clappin'. It's a good name. Easy for me to say. Good morning. Welcome back. Peter, it's great to see you. Good morning. Welcome back. Janie, good morning. Welcome back. Derek says selling GNTA on Friday is looking like a terrible decision now. Yikes. That thing closed at 103 on Friday, and it spiked as high as 344 here today. So let me ask you, Derek, let me just ask you right off the bat. Is there a trade in GNTA today? I'm sure we'll take a look at that when we cover the movers. Whisk, good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. And good morning to the Benzie gang. Welcome back. Good to see you as always. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Yes, that girl, good morning. Welcome back. Producer is back and in full swing. Let's go. Cookie and Lemon, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. Graph, good morning. Welcome back. Acorns, good morning. Welcome back. Acorn saying, do you know Trump Avago? We have earnings coming up. I think he meant, do you know Trump bought Avago? Yeah, there we go. Trump bought Avago and they have earnings coming up. So is this like the situation where he said, buy a Dell and then Dell went to the moon? Asking for a friend here. What do you think, Acorn? What do you think happens? Castle, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. Neville, good morning. Always good to see you. Welcome. Hopefully your weekend was good. Liam, good morning. Welcome back. Carlos, good morning. Welcome to June. Indeed, welcome to June. We are here. June's is a good summer month. I'm excited for it. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you as always. Big Bees, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. Good morning. Tyler, good morning. MGF, good morning. The Noob, good morning. Richard, good morning. Corey, it's great to see you. Good morning. Lance, good morning. Matthew, good morning. Janie is reminding us that school's out for summer. Okay. Well, those were always good times when I was younger. Now, I don't really care as much. Dirkus, good morning. Welcome back. JJ, good morning. G-Cord, good morning. Let's go. Free Diddy tomorrow. Good morning. Jedi, he's no Jedi. Just kidding. Welcome back. No Jedi mind tricks without prior approval. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Ben, good morning. Tuning in from Italy. Let's go. We've got a bunch of folks across Europe, and I am here for it. Unpopular Truth, good morning. JR, good morning. Kenjalia, good morning. Acorn says Broadcom is going to rocket, and then you buy puts. Keep us posted on your trading there, Acorn. HP Darkside Hemi, good morning. Ed, good morning. Monday struggle bus, staying up past my bedtime. Yo, staying up past the bedtime is always tough. It's Monday, though. So lock in. We're ready to go. Hope Dreams Trader, good morning. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures in the green ahead of Monday's open, the first open for June in 2026. S&P futures up 0.22%, Dow futures up 0.4%, and the Nasdaq up 0.16%. Let's take a look at some cues from last session and where we sit here today. Consumer staples, communication services, and energy stocks recorded the biggest losses on Friday, leading most S&P 500 sectors to a close on a negative note. However, bucking the overall market trend, information technology and financial stocks closed higher. U.S. stock futures rose on Monday after a higher close on Friday, ending the month of May at a record high. The U.S. has undertaken all self-defense strikes in Iran on Sunday as President Trump says Iran wants a deal and urges critics to stop second-guessing his negotiation strategy. Yeah, good luck. According to an update on X by the Central Command, the U.S. carried out strikes in Iran over the weekend, hitting Iranian radar and command and control sites. The strikes were in response to, quote, aggressive Iranian actions, end quote, including the shooting down of a U.S. MQ-1 drone operating over international waters. Investors will keep an eye on the May jobs report this week, slated for Friday release, and earnings from tech heavyweights like Palo Alto Networks, ticker PANW, CrowdStrike Holdings, ticker CRWD, and of course, Broadcom, ticker AVGO. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.46%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.03%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projection showed that the markets are pricing in a 99.4% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today to put on your watch list, and the first one is going to be Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Ticker on this one is HPE, and it jumped 6.06% in the pre-market on Friday as it's set to report its second quarter results today. Analysts expect the company to report a 28.7% year-on-year rise in revenue to $9.82 billion, with a 42.11% year-on-year increase in EPS to 54 cents. Also announced a new HPE ProLiant Compute DL394 Gen 12, the latest NVIDIA Vera CPU at Computex 2026 in Taipei. Just as a reminder, that Computex event is still going on. We expect more news out of that a little bit to come here. The next stock, is going to be NVIDIA. The ticker on this one is NVDA, and it was 1.67% higher as CEO Jensen Huang used the Computex 2026 stage in Taipei to outline a sweeping vision for artificial intelligence infrastructure. They unveiled new AI-focused processors and AI PCs and data center technologies. The company expands far beyond its roots as a graphics chip maker. So NVIDIA also going to be in the news. The next stock is going to be Super Micro Computer. The ticker is SMCI. It advanced 1.95% as it announced the launch of 12 new server platforms optimized for the Intel Xeon 6 Plus processors. The next stock on our list is going to be Uber Technologies. The ticker is UBER, and it was up 1.79% as it announced plans with an Israeli-based AutoBrains to launch a robotaxi program in Munich, pending regulatory approval. The last stock on our list is going to be Credo Technology Group Holdings, or ticker CRDO. It was 2.75% higher as analysts expect it to report earnings of 79 cents on revenue of $432.05 million after the closing bell today. All right, let's take a look at our SPY chart and see where we sit. Stop me if you've heard this before, but boy, oh boy, we're sitting up near all-time highs. In fact, the recent all-time high did come on Friday. That high is going to be 758.08. We're currently at 758.08 right now. We were higher in the pre-market today. Pre-market high was 759.26. We've since backed off that level. So we'll see if we do actually open at a new all-time high, or perhaps if we open lower than that and continue to trade down. It looks like we continue to just kind of melt up and break out here as we trade higher on lower volume. You can see we're a bit extended from some of these moving averages, and I think there's a lot of folks kind of waiting for a potential pullback here. First spot on that pullback, a meaningful spot on that pullback, would be the 20-day moving average. I currently have that value here at 741.20. It's a good 16, almost 17 points higher than where we've been at. or than where we're at right now, excuse me. I would also like to add that 749 to 750, really that whole dollar range in there should also act as support. If we do come back in, we'll see how sticky that support might be or how well that might hold up. Okay, let's go back and take a look at some insights from analysts here. Let's keep it rolling. That's one of our favorite guests, Ryan Dietrich. Has some information for us here today. The current S&P 500 bull market, which began at the bear market bottom in October of 2022, has officially become the 8th longest rally since World War II. According to new data from Carson Investment Research and FactSet, the run hit the 3.63-year mark, officially overtaking the historic 3.627-year bull market of 1962 to 1966. Over that span, the index has surged by 111.9%. While some market commentators worry that a 43-month-old rally is getting extended, Carson Group's chief market strategist Ryan Dietrich suggests history points to further gains. Quote, "What matters here is how long those other bull markets that made it this far lasted," end quote. Dietrich noted that in a recent post on X. He emphasized that the other 7 longest historical rallies lasted an average of more than 7 total years. So might have some ways to go on that. Looking ahead at the historical trajectory, Dietrich teased market skeptics by adding, quote, "Imagine if this bull was only halfway over. Boy, that'll upset a lot of bears," end quote. So I'm curious to see what you folks think. I know we're kind of all, when we see a market extended like this, and we are extended, we're all kind of waiting for a pullback, right? We're all kind of waiting for better entries on some of these stocks. And I'm just curious to see how many of you think we might run for a little bit longer. I know we had Mark Petrino on Friday. He focuses a lot on sentiment. Actually, when I turned on CNBC this morning, they were even focusing on sentiment. Joe Kernan was saying, oh, wow, we're starting to see some articles now where people say, this might be great. As in more and more people are falling in line that this should, in fact, continue here. And of course, that gives the contrarians a bit of worry. So I'm just curious, where do you sit on this? It does feel extended. We moved up on low volume. We've outlined the problems every single day here, from individual stock problems to global macroeconomic problems. Where do you think we go? Do you think that this bull market turns around soon? Or do you think maybe we, at minimum, finish off 2026 and maybe even 2027 with some of this? I'd be curious to see what the group says about that. All right. Now, let's talk about NVIDIA. And you know what we can do first? Actually, we can start with the NVIDIA chart here. We haven't started with an NVIDIA chart for some time. This is where we're at. Now, we recently made a move up towards 240. We were not able to get that, and we've kind of fallen back down. It's been very orderly here, but we're basically testing the 20-day moving average. So the current pre-market price is below the 20-day moving average, but I expect that to get tested here. That value, 216.33. And as mentioned, NVIDIA is also up 2.2% here today. And as mentioned, Computex is going on, and there's a lot of stuff coming out for Computex, AI related and otherwise. This is what the long-term chart looks like on NVIDIA. And I guess the question that I have here for the group is, who thinks NVIDIA's got some more legs to go? You'd probably have to be a pretty big AI bull to feel that way, but seems like a lot of folks are. So I'm just trying to get an idea from the group who thinks NVIDIA has some more, let's call it, legs on this current run. On Monday, NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, CEO Jensen Huang used the Computex 2026 stage in Taipei to outline a sweeping vision for artificial intelligence infrastructure, unveiling new AI-focused processors, AI PCs, and data center technology as the company expands far beyond its roots as a graphics chip maker. Taking the stage at the Taipei Music Center, Huang, in his signature black leather jacket, first gave a shout out to his parents, saying that he brought them home. During his keynote, Huang framed NVIDIA's next phase around AI factories, large-scale computing systems built to generate business value through AI models and agents. Quote, NVIDIA has really become an infrastructure company, not just a GPU company, not just a systems company, but an infrastructure company to help you generate the maximum revenues and maximum profit and to get there as soon as possible, end quote. Pretty good quote from the godfather of AI, as he's known. Huang repeatedly highlighted that NVIDIA's strategy is no longer centered on selling standalone chips, but complete systems spanning networking, compute, software, and data center infrastructure. He argued that compute is revenue, suggesting that every AI-generated token creates measurable business value, reinforcing NVIDIA's push into a full-stack AI infrastructure. A central theme of the keynote was agentic AI, systems capable of reasoning, taking actions, and working autonomously. Huang described the industry shift as useful AI, arguing the future AI systems will function less like chatbots and more like digital workers capable of dramatically improving productivity. To support that shift, NVIDIA introduced Vera, a new ARM-based CPU architecture designed specifically for AI infrastructure. And by the way, while we're here, ARM, the stock, that was up 5% here in this pre-market. So let me know if any of you folks are trading ARM here today, or if you think there's more of a run on that as well, not just NVIDIA. Rather than focusing on traditional workloads, Vera is designed to coordinate AI models, storage systems, and large-scale compute clusters. According to NVIDIA, Vera delivers industry-leading single-threaded performance with up to 3.6 terabytes per second of internal bandwidth and 1.2 terabytes per second of memory bandwidth. NVIDIA also moved deeper into the PC markets with RTX Spark, a new superchip combining its Blackwell GPU architecture with the new ARM-based N1X processor developed alongside MediaTek and Microsoft, ticker MSFT. Quote, Microsoft and NVIDIA are going to reinvent the PC, end quote, and that came from Jensen Huang. The new platform combines a Blackwell GPU, a custom 20-core CPU, 128 gigabytes of unified memory, and a 1 petaflop of AI performance, enabling advanced AI workloads, content creation, and gaming on portable systems. NVIDIA said that more than 30 laptops and 10 desktops using RTX Spark will launch this fall from partners including Dell, ticker DELL, HP, ticker HPQ, Asus, Lenovo, ticker LNVGF and LNVGY, and MSI, initially targeting creators, gamers, and AI developers. So that entire thing sounds great, right? AI at the forefront, but also not forgetting about creators, gamers, and developers. And he is setting the stage for NVIDIA to continue to roll higher. And again, I'd be curious as to how the traders think about that. Would you rather go somewhere else? Lion here says, I don't care about NVIDIA when I have Micron. So, and I think what you mean by that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you mean by that is you really don't care if NVIDIA performs well because Micron is outperforming so much that doesn't even really matter. Now, I would argue that for that Micron trade to continue, NVIDIA would have to keep executing too, but that's neither here nor there. These AI systems, these AI PCs, is Microsoft and NVIDIA actually going to change everything here? Interesting thought. Let me know if you were bullish on Microsoft after that as well. We've talked about Microsoft being one of the stocks that's actually gone through a pretty significant correction and maybe kind of held its near-term bottom. Anyway, the AI thing is going to continue. Let me know what you think about all of that. Now, it's not all roses because sometimes there's some negative stuff too. We're going to cover that. Michael Burry calls NVIDIA's AI spending, quote, fugazi, end quote, and says billions in GPUs are hidden through a complex financing structure. So Michael Burry trying to pour some cold water on everybody's happy weekend. Over the weekend, investor Michael Burry questioned the financial plumbing behind the artificial intelligence boom, arguing that complex financing arrangements may be masking how billions of dollars worth of NVIDIA GPUs are funded and held across balance sheets. Burry, who's known for predicting the 2008 housing crash, pushed back against optimism around NVIDIA after CNBC's Jim Cramer said that the chip maker remains a winner despite the stock feeling, quote, heavy again, end quote. Responding to Cramer, Burry wrote, quote, there are good reasons for this, Jim. It's all fugazi. How to make tens of billions worth of NVIDIA GPUs disappear from balance sheets in 8 to 12 Byzantine step PVS. Now, I think he means Byzantine steps, which refers to complex, convoluted processes or procedures that often imply unnecessary complications. But that's neither here nor there. Burry also shared a detailed graphic, which I have on the screen here, outlining what he views as an increasingly complex chain connecting retirees, insurers, private credit firms, financing vehicles, and AI infrastructure. And actually, before I move on here, if anyone wants to go through this, you could look up the tweet yourself. I'll throw the article here in the chat. You can access all of that directly from the article here. So, let me go back. Financing vehicles and AI infrastructure. Okay, so let me explain the diagram. Can't follow or maybe can't see it because it's a little bit small there. The diagram argues that retirement money flowing into annuities ultimately supports financing structures involving insurers, reinsurance entities, private credit firms, and special purpose vehicles, or SPVs, which then help fund AI infrastructure purchases. According to the chart, NVIDIA sells GPUs into financing structures where ownership may sit with separate entities rather than the end users who are actually operating the hardware. At the center of Burry's criticism is the idea that AI infrastructure growth may rely more heavily on structured finance, leverage, and off-balance sheet arrangements than investors realize. Of course, we reached out. NVIDIA did not immediately respond to our request for comments, but we'll update you if we get them. In March, Burry alleged that NVIDIA blocked Advanced Micro Devices, or ticker AMD, from a major AI infrastructure deal and said that the U.S. Department of Justice has been probing the company for nearly 2 years. He also accused NVIDIA of operating in a, quote, mafia-like way in the AI chip market, warning that it could face antitrust scrutiny. Separately, researcher Shanaka and Slem Pereira, in a November 2025 blog post, claimed a $610 billion fraud, citing red flags in NVIDIA's financing, including rising receivables, longer payment cycles, higher inventory, and weaker cash conversions versus peers. So again, we'll see how it all shakes out here. I'm curious as to what you folks think about all of this and where you think NVIDIA goes here. We know where Lion sits, right? He would just rather trade the memory names like Micron. But definitely interested in everyone's opinion here on NVIDIA. Now, before we get to our special Monday guest, I have one more story here, and this one's going to be on Snow. Massive earnings winner last week. Really kind of coming up off the bottom. I know we've covered throughout all these months, we've covered a lot of these SaaS apocalypse stories and all of that. Some of them have started to turn around. Now, Snow has really popped recently. So the question here, is it a buy even after this pop? Dan Ives sees 10% upside following the recent earnings report here. So you'll have to let me know what you think on this. Wedbush Securities has raised its price target on Snowflake, ticker SNOW, to 280. That came from 270, and they maintain their outperform rating on the Data Cloud Enterprise. The adjustment signals roughly 10% upside from its current levels as enterprise software shifts into a critical phase of artificial intelligence monetization. Speaking to CNBC, Dan Ives, global head of tech research at Wedbush, said that the broader AI market has moved beyond semiconductor hardware into crucial infrastructure layer. Following robust cloud utilization data, Ives emphasizes that data integration is proving to be the primary engine for software enterprise growth. Quote, what it's showing you is the data layer is now the monetization. It's not just chips. It's gone to the data layer, end quote. That, again, came from Dan Ives. This transformation cements Snowflake's underlying infrastructure as an essential enterprise resource. Ives directly countered ongoing market skepticism regarding software obsolescence, describing data warehousing and cloud repository systems as the ultimate proprietary asset. Quote, that data layer is like the new oil, the new gold. That's the moat, end quote. The target upgrade arrives as enterprise tech challenges Wall Street's AI goose trade. The market narrative asserting that the pure play foundational AI models would completely disrupt and eliminate legacy software platforms. Ives contends that large-scale data enterprise platforms possess irreplaceable distribution networks that defend them against tech disintermediation. Quote, data infrastructure install base is key. And he went on to add that despite fears, established players are holding their ground. Wedbush, excuse me, lost my mouse here. Wedbush views the current technology cycle as the preface to a massive multi-year enterprise build-up, projecting $4 trillion in global AI spending over the coming years. And with under 5% of U.S. enterprises currently deployed on mature AI pathways, Snowflake's data layer is positioned to benefit from a structural multi-year tailwind. For investors assessing the cloud software's landscape, Wedbush's target lift underscores Snowflake's role as a core beneficiary of secular tech spending. So, does anyone like Snow from here after the pop? I know when we were talking about Snow trading up, I think that there were a couple of you looking for puts that might have been just kind of a regression back to the mean trade more than an actual thesis itself. But let me know if you have any update here on Snow. If you do want to see the video that Dan Ives had released on this, that is contained within the article that I just linked there in the chat for you. But all right. It is Monday, and I know we don't normally have a guest on Monday, but we are lucky because we've got one here today. It is absolutely my pleasure to welcome to the show Head of Options Content at Nasdaq, Kevin Davitt. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Kevin, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, Ryan. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. I got to say, we are dealing with some crazy times here in the market, so I'm hoping that you're going to be able to help us make some sense of it.
I hope I can do just that.
Okay, before we dive in here, can you tell the folks what you do over at Nasdaq a little bit?
Sure, I'd love to. And it's a little bit strange to see yourself pop up on screen before doing one of these. I liked it. As that alluded to, or as you alluded to, I sort of oversee index options content at Nasdaq from a big picture perspective. What I'm talking about is NDX options. Mm-hmm. And if we look back 4 years, since the industry expanded to daily options in index products, of which NDX is and has daily options, NDX has been the fastest growing index product around. And I think increasingly audiences like yours have come to understand the power and the potential that this product has. And so I talk about what I'm observing in the product, in the market broadly, and I try to preach for the advocacy and an understanding of the power of index options.
Okay, that's fantastic. You will fit in perfectly here amongst our group. Let me just dive right into this right now. The NASDAQ 100 has staged an unusually strong 2-month rally. And given the extreme call skew and lack of put demand, do you view this as structural, like systemic flows or dispersion trades, or outright speculative excess in semis and tech?
So that's a really high-level question. Hopefully the audience has some understanding what you're talking about with call skew. Oh, yeah. But just to break that down a little bit, what we have seen in recent weeks is unusual demand for upside in the NASDAQ 100, as well as some of the names that you cover on here regularly, which plays into the index level, and a lack of demand for downside protection. Now, this is all relative to history. Your question, do I believe this is structural? So some of the things that could drive that is the continued growth in dispersion trading or speculative excess. I think it's really difficult given the complexity and the interrelated nature of the markets in the 21st century to really pinpoint something. But what I would say is that we're seeing elements of both of those things. And I'm reminded, I'm old enough to have many years ago spent years on a trading floor. And one of the sort of old adages that was thrown around on the trading floor was buy protection when you can, not when you have to. And I would argue that relative to history, protection screens cheap right now, particularly after we've seen a run of 30+% off the March 30th bottom in a broad-based index like the Nasdaq 100.
Okay, well, first of all, you'd be happy to know that we still throw that adage around here. So that has stood the test of time, that is for sure. We actually had a guest last week on Thursday that said something very, very similar, saying, hey, protection is extremely cheap right now. This is kind of the time you want to actually add that. Let me just add, just from listening to you there, let me just add a further question to that. Do you think that this skew here, or the way that these options are trading, is at least partly responsible to the feeling of a melt up that we're having here in some of the broader indexes?
Good question. So I am friends with and use Spot Gamma's tools, perhaps something some of your audience is familiar with. And I would say that they do a great job covering the knock-on effect that options can have on the underlying market. So just my opinion, but I would say that can play a role given the size of call buying that we've seen over the past couple of weeks. You could look at this and carve up data any number of different ways, but the spread between overall market call activity and puts is unusually call skewed over the past couple of weeks. And that trickles into the behavior that you see in individual names, be it Dell last week or any number of, I'm just picking one here. Day after day, you see that playing out. When something like that comes to an end, I can't tell you. Picking tops and bottoms is a fool's errand, but I do believe that day to day, the options volume and flows and the sort of hedging demand that stems from that does impact the price behavior that we see.
Okay, and we'll see if there's any impact on some of the big tech darlings that report this week, namely Palo Alto and Broadcom. We'll see how that ends up shaking out here.
Yep.
In prior periods with similar setups, like, for example, the 2024 carry unwind, what early signals would you watch for to indicate that a regime shift is coming towards higher macro volatility?
So you allude to an interesting period where I do think there are some corollaries to what we're seeing here broadly. The high dispersion and low correlation market, and I'll get into that just a little bit, is what's most related to that period in July and then August of 2024. High dispersion effectively means that we're seeing single name securities move up and down, and at a broad level, what we're seeing, particularly over the past couple of weeks, is really narrow leadership. So just a handful of names kind of pulling things along and negative breadth. More names down on the day despite a market being higher. Okay. Yep. Now, that is a dynamic that rings true of July, August of 2024. And some other option-based measures like implied correlation, which are option-based, looking out into the future for the expectation of correlation, like between single names and the index. Those are at levels that were only lower in July of 2024. Now, bringing the audience back to that period, we're talking about the time frame when we're showing bars and watch parties for things like NVIDIA earnings. Okay. That's unusual. It's never just one thing, but when I see this confluence of measures and metrics that point to similar behavior, my antenna goes up, and I am an advocate for the informed use of options. And I think depending on the way you structure exposure in this market, there can be asymmetric setups if and when we see a reversal in the sort of overwhelming trend of the past couple of months.
Okay. And just kind of going along that or taking that a step forward here with the breadth deteriorating and the leadership narrowing, would you expect a rotation or a catch up in laggards or a sharp de risking led by some of the current leaders?
Just to be clear, my job, I'm not really giving outlooks. I think that either could take place.
Okay.
I think the bulls would argue that for the better part of the past couple of years, we have seen a couple of handoffs from narrow leadership into the 497 or the sort of 90 in the Nasdaq 100, and that very well could take place. The flip side of that would be, are we likely to see a correction that's sort of top led? I think that is possible as well. The primary driver of this kind of melt up over the past couple of months has been exceptional earnings. So the fundamental backdrop remains fairly strong. And like I said a couple of minutes ago, picking tops is a fool's errand, but structuring option exposures that give you a little bit of staying power and arguably, if you're wrong, don't cost you a great deal. I think there are a number of ways to sort of put those in place in a market like this, where if we do see the sort of ladder, the kind
Mhm.
of top down drawdown in the market, that you would be well positioned.
Okay. Now, we have Broadcom earnings coming this week, or they're expected on Wednesday here after the market closes. Are there any takeaways that you're looking for that? I know you're not necessarily trying to predict if it's good or bad or anything, but is there anything that you can actually learn from that report that we can then apply going forward?
The one thing I would say is that these names, NVIDIA as well, that report later in the quarter when we've heard from so many of the companies that do business with them, kind of presages a relatively strong report. Now that's just my opinion.
Mhm.
My broader inclination is for audiences to understand the information rich option market and the fact that we can look at something like a Broadcom at the money straddle. And I would point to the options that expire on Friday, June 5th. And those at the money options are pricing an up down range of about 9.5% for this week. Now, relative to history, that's kind of in line. But when you think about names like this, where the market cap is significantly higher than what we've seen historically, just with
Mhm.
these names making higher highs, the impact can be more meaningful of a 10% potential move in a name like this. So understanding what that means, roughly $42 up down in a $450 underlying. So are we talking about Broadcom at 500 or 400 at the end of the week? Who knows? Or something very much in the middle. I would also point to NVIDIA, where that at the money straddle was about 5.5%, 6% going in, and the underlying really didn't move. So look at that option market to give you some sense of what collectively is expected. And if your view diverges from that, understand that you can use options to structure a play that might make sense or make it easy to express that view.
Okay. And finally, here, is there anything else that you'd like to share with investors or traders, and maybe even on that education side, like where they can go to get more education around this?
I appreciate that. So we have built out an index sort of landing page where people can learn more, one, about the NASDAQ 100. I would argue that the index is broader than many of your audience members might sort of originally sort natively think of. We're talking about names like Walmart and Costco playing a meaningful role in this kind of technology bellwether. What we speak to internally is a benchmark for the 21st century. And while that might sound like some marketing, I think it also rings true in the sense that this index is broad based. It is exposure to large cap growth names. And that's really where the audience's interest has been for many, many years. And I think it will continue into the future. So understanding a bit more about why the NDX options continue to sort of lead the index options in terms of growth, and why the strategies that they might be employing in single name securities or other index products could transfer or complement what they're doing elsewhere in NDX. If you just Google Nasdaq 100 index options, you're going to find that landing page. You could also go to my author page. I put out stuff about every 2 weeks to see if that rings true for your audience. So thank you for the opportunity to bring that up.
Yeah, no problem. We went ahead and threw that link there in the chat. We'll try and find your author page as well and give that to the group as well. Look, Kevin, we really appreciate it. I love talking to people, experts within the industry, and sharing any insight that you have here. Really appreciate you taking the time to come on this morning, and I look forward to more updates from you in the future as well.
So do I. I really like the way you structured your questions, and I look forward to those future updates.
Okay, fantastic. Kevin Davitt from the Nasdaq. We really appreciate it. Have a good rest of your week, all right?
Thank you.
All right, folks. Another special guest there for you. Thank you very much to Kevin for joining us here. We'll keep bringing you more and more guests with more and more insight there and try to raise the tide for everybody around us. So really good stuff there from Kevin. Okay, let me check in here on the time. Oh, we are doing so good. I got 2 more real quick news stories. We'll fill in the rest of the time with ticker time, and then we'll go ahead and break down all of those movers as soon as 13 is available. Let me go ahead and throw my screen back up here. Sorry, one sec. Boop. And let's go ahead and I got 2 more news stories here. Let me get my place here real quick. Okay. This one, Chamath Palihapitiya says that the AI industry has lost the script. He points to child illiteracy remaining unsolved. We've talked a lot about what real world problems can AI solve. And I think the low hanging fruit here is ones in the medical industry, the ability to pour through a bunch of complex data and then come up with something that can really benefit a large group of people. Chamath here, something else that I think we should all focus on, and that's going to be child illiteracy here. Chamath Palihapitiya on Sunday said that the artificial intelligence industry is focusing too much on routine automation, not as much on solving major societal problems like child illiteracy. In a post on X, Palihapitiya said public skepticism towards AI stems partly from the gap between the technology's potential and its real-world impact on pressing issues. Quote, AI doomerism exists in part because solutions to our most important problems still remain unsolved, while examples of superficial process automation abound, end quote. He also went on to add, quote, we've lost the script. He further suggested that AI would earn broader public support if developers focused on solving society's most urgent problems rather than improving efficiency in routine business processes. Quote, if AI wants to be celebrated, it should put solutions to some of society's greatest problems at the front of the line, end quote. He points to education as the example. Palihapitiya asked, quote, why hasn't anyone focused on AI for fixing the growing illiteracy of our children, end quote. Earlier, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said students should focus less on AI-proof subjects and more on building creativity and communication skills while learning to use AI tools. He argued that many routine tasks were already being automated. Billionaire investor Bill Ackman's backed Alpha School, which is an AI-driven private institution that compresses academic learning into a shorter daily schedule while combining personalized tutoring with leadership and life skills. He called this a major innovation in K-12 education, with the model aiming to replace traditional instruction with AI-guided learning and structured non-academic activities. I'm not sure how I feel about that on the surface. Let me think about that a little bit more. Billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban compared the AI shift to early personal computer era, saying workers now had better access to learning tools, but warned that companies were likely to reduce jobs as automation expanded. And this is something that we've covered quite a bit here. I really think Chamath is hitting on something that I think we can all kind of be on the lookout for, right? I would expect the first wave of this to be companies utilizing this to better their profits and to better, to more streamline, increase their productivity, streamline what they do, better their profits. I would absolutely expect that. But on the same track, perhaps at different times, I would also expect major breakthroughs here. And I think that's what we're kind of waiting for. What is the major breakthrough that AI is going to give us? Is it just going to make us all better at our jobs? Okay, great, but kind of boring, right? Can AI help cure cancer? Not as boring. Can AI help raise the tide for all children so that less people are starting from a disadvantaged position? Also really exciting. And I think it's, as traders and as investors, it's these types of things that we should keep our eyes peeled for to see if something like this is happening. If AI starts to really benefit a particular company that gets better treatments and better drugs for terrible diseases, or if it helps kids learn faster and better, I think those are going to be long-standing things that we can trade or invest in that are ultimately going to help humanity, as well as hopefully make us some money along the way. So something to think about here. Chamath is already thinking about that. I do like his example of child illiteracy. I think there's a big gap to close there. So I'll definitely be keeping my eyes peeled for new companies and products that help that as well. Okay. Last story here. This is going to be just another kind of follow-up here. We're in the lead up to the SpaceX IPO. We're going to be talking about that quite a bit, and I know that these stocks are going to be traded quite a bit too. Still really curious to see what the group does here with SpaceX. The SpaceX-Tesla merger could trigger Elon Musk's $1 trillion pay package, evidently. A merger between Tesla, ticker TSLA, and SpaceX could reportedly trigger Elon Musk's $1 trillion Tesla pay package without the EV giant having to reach any operational milestones. Look out. The package, which features operational milestones like 10 million active full self-driving subscriptions, 1 million Tesla robotaxis on the road, and Tesla delivering over 1 million robots by 2035, among others. However, an Electric report on Sunday showed that the milestones would be voided in the event of a change in control. Now, the report pointed to the change in control section of the contract, which stipulates that, quote, in the event of a change in control, the operational milestones shall be disregarded, end quote, and that only the market capitalization would be considered for the award. So he doesn't actually have to do all of this stuff. If the companies together are X big, he gets it anyway. The change in control clause could point towards a potential merger buyout of the EV giant, which could take place as talks of a possible merger with SpaceX have already been in the headlines. The news comes as SpaceX's IPO, set to take place in the coming weeks here, could trigger automatic investments from retirement funds, including 401k accounts. So remember when we heard about how they wanted to fast track this? Now we hear about this clause. And again, until I came across this news story, I didn't know about this clause. Now we're hearing about this clause that, oh yeah, by the way, we might not actually have to hit those other milestones as long as we make this company an absolute monster. We'll see which one we get here. The automatic buying would happen as index funds investing in indices like the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 would be buying into the IPO amid rule changes adopted by both indices that allow SpaceX to be considered an expedited listing and be granted waivers from profitability rules, among other things. Reports had also emerged that SpaceX would be trimming down its targeted valuation amid the IPO to $1.8 trillion. However, Musk flatly denied that on X. So we'll see how this one shakes out here. Is anyone else interested in Tesla ahead of the SpaceX IPO? Are you more interested in the SpaceX IPO? Does this make you less interested? You'll have to let me know what you think on all of that. Okay, let's get back to Pro here. Let's check what time it is. All right, it is 8:50. We got 10 minutes until 13. Thank you, producer, for finding the Author Hub for Kevin. That's awesome. Glad we were able to share that as well. Okay, let me actually just catch up on some of the comments here. Lion, talking about Microsoft. We were just talking about that. That's a perfect segue. Thank you for answering here. Lion saying Microsoft is going to 500. Today, we're actually gapping over the 200-day moving average. So, Lion, I would agree with your assessment. It sure looks like this wants to trade up. Also, just kind of on this daily chart, a couple of things that we had flagged while we were on the way down. First of all, we talked about the death cross that happened all the way back at the beginning of January. The stock, and actually let me end up measuring this, from that death cross, the stock actually traded down 26% or close to 26% from that. I don't have like a specific threshold, but I got to say that death cross chart formation, that's played. We got it. All right. Next, I look at the chart here and I think, well, we kind of put in this double bottom here at about 360. This traded well off of that bottom. It actually looks like it's trying to take another leg higher. Lion, to your point here, it sure looks like 500 probably in the cards, especially if we're able to recapture and then perhaps more importantly, hold the 200-day moving average there. But then also, check this out. Don't we kind of have an inverse head and shoulders here? I know that right shoulder might be a little janky compared to the left, but otherwise, sure looks like this wants to roll higher here. The move on Friday took us above the 500-day moving average. We're now gapping up above the 200-day moving average here today. I got to say, as long as we can hold 458.77, and if you want to just call that 459, that's fine too. Yeah, I think if we hold that here, giddy up, we're probably in good shape here on Microsoft. Jamaican says Microsoft and Now have been good to me. So these are trades that you had that have worked for you. That's fantastic. Okay, let's see what else are you saying there. Okay, so anyway, we'll see here how Microsoft plays out. And like I was saying, some of these software names really kind of already making a pretty big turnaround. Snow, obviously, after its earnings, massive pop there. Massive pop there. And then several of you folks are talking about Now. This is actually a good one to cover. I know we had a good trade on that on Friday here. For me, it was a scalp. Was actually out a little bit early on that. But look at this, Lion. Look at this. First of all, I believe you were trading calls that day. I think it was just a day trade. Let me know if you're still in some of those. If you ended up holding Now or swinging that over the weekend, giddy up. Look at this move here. Now actually almost printed, what was that? Yeah, almost printed 140 in the pre-market. So this is actually still up 8.39, almost 8.4% from the closing print on Friday. You know, as far as Now goes, we'll see if this comes in and holds 133, we might have another day trade opportunity set up for us here today. Conversely, if it breaks that 138, 139 area, I think we pop above 140 here. I'm in now with 150 calls that expire in July. Okay, so you are swinging that over the weekend, so that is going to open up nicely here. Selena mentioning Big Blue, IBM to the upside over 9%. Other quantum stocks are down. So here's a look at the IBM chart. You can see IBM up 11% here today. So another move higher here. Here's what the IBM chart looks like on the daily. We talked about this a little bit on in Happy Hour. I can't remember if we talked about this on the show. Maybe someone asked Mark Petrino about this, or we talked about it on Friday morning. Nonetheless, here, look at this move here in IBM. Look at this move here in IBM. Just massive. I don't know if we're going to see the downward move, the long-term downward move that we have here, but IBM just up massively. Computex is going to be one of the reasons that's driving this. Here's the long-term trend, right? It's got these very steep periods up, and then it trades for a number of years to the downside, and it continues to repeat this pattern. Pretty soon, we're expecting some downside. Let's see if we end up getting that. Brian here saying IBM going to be the real quantum winner. You know, they've been involved in quantum long before some of these other companies. Remember, they were involved in AI long before AI was popular. Remember Watson? Remember the Watson commercials and all of that? We'll see. Now, the other one that you guys are talking about, I love that you guys are discussing some of these tickers here today. The next one here is going to be CRM. This is Salesforce. What are we doing here today? Salesforce up nearly 5% here today, testing 200. So I think the last time we talked about Salesforce, someone's going to have to remind me, but the last time we talked about Salesforce, we talked about this really holding the trend line. Let me see where that originated. What year did that originate in? Let me go back to that monthly here. That originated right here. So back in 2016, yeah, this is a long-term trend line, and it sure looks like CRM has kind of held that here as an area. Now, today, we're testing the round 200 number. That's definitely going to be key here today. We are gapping above the 100-day. I've got another trend line here. I'm actually going to extend this a little bit. That target's up there at 212, but the big level here is going to be the 221. That's going to be your 200-day moving average. When we can get above that and close above that a few times, I really think we could start to turn CRM around here, maybe even trade towards the top end of the broadening wedge or the broadening formation that we see on this daily chart. Those were made from two separate trend lines, by the way. Okay. I asked on Friday. Oh, okay. Zach, were you asking about CRM on Friday? A friend of mine bought into it and brought it to my attention, as it was at the bottom. Well, I think your friend is pretty sharp, right? I think he actually waited till the right time here because it certainly does look like that's the bottom. I think if we can close above 200 here and the market can really stay together, I think we might be in good shape with CRM. Let's do Broadcom here real quick. We've talked about it a few times. This is going to be one of the big earnings reports on Wednesday. The only thing, and we just heard our guest who was absolutely great, brought up a really good point. You know, this is one of the names that's reporting late in the earnings cycle. We've seen some of the other peers already put up really good numbers, and it kind of portends what we're going to see here out of Broadcom. That's all. I feel the same way. The one thing, and I just can't help it, the one thing is that we've seen some of these stocks that run into earnings, they end up not really moving a whole lot, or they have the kind of reversal. And this thing has absolutely been running into earnings. This, ever since the move through the 200, we basically went right to the top of the fibs. We've been consolidating and now trying to push away from the top of that Fibonacci retracement level. That value up here was about 416 and change. And so it'll be very interesting to see what Broadcom puts up here. I'm expecting a good number. Really, the question is going to be how it trades on all of that. I'd like to know if any of you have Broadcom for trades. I know several of you are into this in a long-term way, but let me know if you have any short-term trades here on Broadcom for this week or for earnings. Okay, and then the other one that I wanted to mention real quickly is going to be Palo Alto. Look, we actually talked about this when this happened. Has there been a better move since that CEO buying shares than Palo Alto? I mean, I feel like this thing has just gone straight up. Where was that here? There was a purchase. Where was that? Why can't I find it here? Do I have this filtered the wrong way? I think I have this filtered the wrong. Oh, I can't. Oh, here it is. Excuse me. It's right in front of me. Come on, Ryan, wake up. March 27th, CEO bought $10 million worth of stock. They paid $146.87 for that Palo Alto stock. This stock is $288. This thing has been straight up since the CEO $10 million buy. This is actually going to report earnings tomorrow after the market closes. This thing's basically a vertical wall here. I have no position going into earnings on PANW, but I'd love to hear if you folks are going to trade any of this. Acorn saying, I like puts. I just want to make sure. Are you talking about Palo Alto? I know we just talked about Broadcom. Maybe that. I just want to make sure I get your comment right here. Let me know what you guys think on Palo Alto. Palo Alto translates to high wood. Okay, Joe. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but thanks for the thanks for the translation there, buddy. Acorns, you were looking at Broadcom. Noted. Noted. Okay. As we wait for 13 to show up, what else do you folks want to take a look at Did I miss anything? I guess you know what? We could take a look at Oracle. I think we looked at that with Anne Marie last week as well. Here's what Oracle looks like. Another power move, up another 3% here today. This also has done a really good job turning around off this long-term supporting trend line. Maybe that's something like CRM there. We'll see. Oracle here, move through the 200-day, looking good. Now we get another close above it. Yeah, Oracle, this thing has been cruising. This thing has been absolutely cruising. Bigabees, let me know what your thought there is on Oracle. And then Kathy, have you looked at ARM? So I briefly talked about ARM earlier. You might not have been here for that. Good morning, by the way, Kath. Here's what ARM looks like. Now, this is up now 11%. The news here is that some of these chips came from Computex. Some of these chips were going to be used here. Let me see if I can find it here for you. Kramer had a bullish take on ARM, but there was another one here. Yep, here we go. Jensen Huang, CEO, said that the chip combines the Blackwell RTX graphics processor with Grace CPU and is designed to power AI-focused laptops and desktops running Microsoft Windows on ARM's platform. So ARM got a mention here. Remember, the other thing that came out of this was that Microsoft and NVIDIA were going to change PC computing. There has been a lot of talk about computing being changed and all that. Jensen loves to do all of that. ARM very clearly a beneficiary. Here's the question, Kath. I can't justify chasing this. I mean, for me, a vertical move like this, just can't justify chasing it, right? This would be short term. I'm not in this long term. I'd be curious to know what you think about this. I think this might also act like some of those other really kind of high flyers. Like if we pull back, even if we pull back significantly, like from here, if we pull back to 312, I wouldn't be surprised if it bounces again, honestly. Anyway, nonetheless, let's go ahead and start our pre-market pulse segment. Let's go ahead and welcome on 13. 13, happy Monday, dude. Beard's filling out.
Yeah, well, we need some football games to happen soon. But we
got months before that happens, buddy. We got months before the football games.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another week. Welcome to another month.
Let's get it. Month. June has arrived triumphantly, you might say.
Summer is here. I was experiencing it this weekend, having a great time. Bring it on. I'm ready for summer.
I'm ready. All right. Well, what do you want to take a look at first here, 13?
Let's knock out this mover junk.
Mover junk. All right. 13's coming in hot today, folks. I am absolutely here for it. What do you have on your list here today?
I looked at TGHL, HKIT, and GNTA.
Okay. We're going to start here with TGHL. Barb Electric says TGHL looks interesting. Stock is rocketing here. Went up towards $3. It's come back in. It looks like it's holding above its VWAP here. What do we have for today? On May 28th, 2026, Growth Hub, which is TGHL, excuse me. By the way, this is from Singapore. Growth Hub signed a merger term sheet with NChem America, granting NChem shareholders 85% ownership in the combined company. Okay, that's your news here today. Short interest on this name, 1.72%, 5.62 days to cover. 13, I wouldn't even put too much stock into that days to cover. This seems like low short interest to me. Float is 12.7 million. On average, the stock is a ghost town and trades about 60,000 shares. Let me refresh this and see if I have an actual volume measurement here for today. 13, what do you think here on TGHL? And I hope I got that ticker right this time.
Yeah,
yes, TGHL.
I didn't do all the math on it to see, where this is going to go based on this merger. Looked at that and it's like, okay, well, this might have limited upside, but there's still some interesting levels we could take a look at here. Didn't really bother with the financials since this is, basically going to be a takeover. 12.7 million shares in the float. If we want to try and take a stab at this today, this already had a nice run that went up to just a little bit past 306 is what I've got here. Looking at a daily chart, though, there's not a whole lot of history. We only saw this come onto the market back in at the end of August, and the price action, the price history I have for since that time really only gives me a few levels to watch for, and it looks like 350, and 4 are going to be the next major resistance areas before we have a blue sky breakout, if we even get up there. So that's what I'd be keeping an eye on here if we're going to trade this to the upside. Otherwise, to the downside, you've got support at the VWAP, and I would say at 145, 150 area.
Okay. I do see us as being in a fair value gap here, by the way. I have no position on that, not necessarily looking to take it, but this is what I have from that study. So this is what we're looking at. Okay. What was the next one that you had?
HKIT.
HKIT, and that is next on the list. So this is going quite well here. HKIT is High Tech Global. This is what the intraday chart looks like. This is a China stock, closed at 146 on Friday, spiked as high as 950 in the pre-market before coming all the way back in. And it's done the dreaded thing where it just can't trade back above its VWAP. That's kind of what we're getting here now. What do we have on this one, 13? I don't really see anything in here. Let me read the short interest on this. 21.43% of the float short at 1 day to cover. So there is high short interest on this. The float is a micro float, less than 1 million shares. And on average, trades 500,000. Today it's traded 11 million. What do you think, 13?
I think that, well, there's no news that I saw. And I think because it's in the IT services industry, and we're getting a lot of these other names, like you talked about Microsoft going today, and we're seeing IBM, get a big lift from that CHIPS Act funding. Yep. So I think the IT services names are just kind of getting a whole sector lift, whole industry lift right now. And being that this is a small, low float with a high, that was pretty good short interest. It got hit pretty hard out of the gate this morning. It took it up to over $9. 983 is the high print I have. I don't know if we're going to get up there. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Right now, we're dealing with trying to recapture VWAP. The company actually did report a profitable half recently. And one of the things that they just also did was on Friday, they effected a 1-for-3 reverse split. So that was that's another reason why it's trading like this morning. It's essentially the day after that share restructuring. So all those things combined, leading to a wild move here in the pre-market. It might be great. Don't know how great it's going to be, but this is one of these China names that is running on no news, and they can be volatile. But just be careful if you're going to trade this, because it can go down just as quickly as they go up. For levels that I have for resistance, I'm looking at the 410 to 425 area. Following that initial impulse move that took us up to 983, and then we came back down. When we were getting some support and consolidation in that area, that 410 to 425 area, before we completely lost it. So I think that's going to be an area to watch for. If we do manage to get through that, it looks to me like 5 is going to be the next resistance thereafter.
Okay, really good stuff here. As Kathy's helping us out, HKIT is restricted on Schwab, so it's one of those. By the way, 3D saying YouTube commercials interrupted our guest and 13. I have the producer looking into that. No idea why that's taking place. Thanks for the report, though. 3D, really appreciate it. Okay, good stuff there on HKIT. What do you got next? GNTA?
GNTA.
Okay, perfect. That was one that someone was mentioning earlier. This was Derek, right? Derek, you were trading this on Friday. Here's GNTA. You can see it closed at about $1.03 on Friday. We traded almost up to $3.50 here today. This is an Italian company, by the way, GNTA. I don't see any news on this one. Maybe it was in this Form 6?
Yes, I believe it was, because here's what's going on with the company. I know it says it's biotechnology, but they're actually restructuring themselves into a more of a aerospace and defense company. They're terminating its core. They terminated its core license or core technology license with Ospedale San Rafael. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but they're making a shift from medical tech to strategic partnerships, while closing out their observational phases of glioblastoma trials. They also just recently in that Form 6, they I think what was you're going to find in there is that they just completed an all share acquisition for ATC. It was the remaining 80.5%. It's a Italian manufacturer of tactical rifles and special forces weapon systems. So making that shift, I think it's still continuing on that news from Friday, that Form 6. The company does need cash, so I wouldn't be surprised if this does some kind of capital raise. I don't, in the quick research that I did, I didn't look to see if they have done any capital raises recently. I don't think they have. So just something to keep in mind here if you're going to trade this one. Resistance to the upside going to be VWAP at this point with the 65 EMA providing support. If we lose that, then I would look at 185 to 190 as the next support area beneath that.
Okay, we'll see if we get GNTA. By the way, this also restricted on Schwab. Thank you, Kathy. So 2 of these movers here, Schwab doesn't want you trading them. Joe saying, I get a YouTube commercial when I first visit the channel, but otherwise never during the stream, and I don't pay for premium. That's the expected. That's what we expect the experience should be like. Derek says, I have an ad blocker and don't get commercials ever and don't have premium. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. All right, 13, what else do you have on your list?
That was it. Seeing right now that Forzen's mentioning Mask, that's a runner from last week. We had some really good trades in that one. All last week.
Here's what the last couple days look like on Mask, right? So the big day there was Thursday. We had kind of a fake out, I want to call this, on Friday, where it looked like it was going to try and take out some of those pre-market highs and then just didn't do that. Here we are. Today's pre-market pump takes us actually through those highs. It looks like we're trying to use this as support. So maybe 540 here as support. I'll check the news here in a sec. 10.5% of the float short of 1 day to cover. This is another micro float under 1 million shares. On average, it trades 6.6 million. Today, it's traded 6.2 million. Gosh, nothing fresh here on this one. What do you got?
Go to the daily chart. It's just silly to me at this point. Go to a daily chart. Look at the very early price action from 2025. That first high from the opening, from when it first opened. That next high from March last year. Just draw a trend line through that and look where we're at. You have to go to the left some more. There you go. See those two highs?
Oh, these two right here.
Yeah. Just draw a trend line through those and see where it takes you. Yeah. It's kind of funny how it's doing that right now, but that's where we're at. So. I guess it's kind of weird because it's a little bit different. Oh, wait, you know what? You're probably using that different parameter for your chart.
No, it's not logarithmic. No, okay. I do not use logarithmic on the charts.
Well, in any event, I would be keeping an eye on that trend line. For me, it's like we just broke over it. So I would think maybe $6 is going to be a resistance area here. It's going to be the second day inside of a 5-day trading period where we're going to try and break through 6. The first time was on Thursday, and we came right back in. Couldn't even get back up there to test it again on Friday. But here we are Monday morning, hitting it again. Maybe we do close over 6 today, but 6 is going to definitely be a level this morning.
Okay, and really quickly, while we were breaking that down here, I see the S&P futures plunging. Iran stops message exchange with the U.S. So that's what's going on here. Oil's ripping on the back of that. Oil popped back here. This is /CL, popped to 91. S&P futures were green here this morning, now down 0.1%, minus 0.1 there. So market pulling here a little bit. It looks like it's trying to hold 755. We've got, 17 minutes till we open. We'll see where we are at. But that's what's going on here, unless somebody else has something else.
Could be a good day for some of those inverse ETFs.
Yeah, it could be. You know what? And also watch to see if we get a defense or if we get another comment that causes this to bounce. When we were higher here prior to this, so we'll see if we get any reversal. Of course, there's been a lot of back and forth in this whole thing. So. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Jay, sell in May. We just finished, so June begins.
Yeah, and I see several of you folks mentioning PURR. This is hyperliquid. The reason we've been talking about this with Corey, who joins us on our morning program. he has been, I don't want to say advocating, that might be the wrong word, but he has been educating us about Hyperliquid and the stock in the happy hour program. This had a pretty nice move on Friday and is popping again here, 18.5% PURR. As far as trading goes, we really kind of want this to hold its pre-market area. The top there about 1230, bottom area about 1175. Would really want this to hold here, or I guess if it breaks down, maybe we can short it a little bit. Let me see what's going on with this short interest. I don't have a reading, only 1.15 days to cover. If we take a look here at what's going on, I don't have a float reading. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, don't have a float reading here. Don't see any news on this here today. 13, do you have anything here on the PURR chart? Looks like it's just ramping.
No. Give me some time, and I might be able to figure something out here. But it's looking like there's some stuff here from Benzinga saying that it's catching strong momentum from weekend decentralized trading protocol volume spikes and ecosystem expansion updates. So
okay,
that's the only news I see here about it.
Yeah, so not news driven. Let me see. Corey, do you have anything on this? Kathy, you said it looked interesting. Is it the movement? Is it what it does? What is the interesting part here on PURR? 15 minutes till we open here. SPY trying to hold 656.
Well, I think we should, maybe be taking a close look and getting ready for volatility when it comes to some of these crypto names, because all through the summer, we're going to have a lot of back and forth in Congress over the Clarity Act. That's in the Senate right now. They need 60 votes. They're going to reconcile with the Agricultural Committee. It's anything that's changed is going to go back to the House for reconciliation. There's several hurdles it's got to do, and they're trying to make this all happen before the August recess. So I think we'll probably get a lot of headlines out of from that out of Congress. So I think watching crypto and keeping an eye on crypto, maybe even getting ready for some of these stocks to move would be a good idea. That's what I'm expecting here this summer.
Okay. All right. Good stuff on that. Let's see. What else do we have here off the list? I felt like let me just run through a couple more of these here real fast. OPTU, this is Optimum Communications. Shares are trading higher if the company launched a tender offer to buy back 100 million of its shares at $250 per share. That's what's driving this thing higher. 13, I guess take a look at the balance sheet, see how feasible that is. Quick peek at the short interest on this. 41.5% of the float shorted with 6.95 days to cover. This little guy, squeeze potential based on our short interest metrics without a doubt. That was the news that we just took a look at. $250 per share. Let's see if there was anything else in here.
According to their balance sheet, they've got over $1 billion in cash.
Okay, so this is feasible. That might be why the market is rewarding it nearly 100% here. This is what it looks like. VWAP I've got at 140. That would be one area that we definitely need to take out, and then we maybe put those highs in play. That's OPTU.
So this has an outstanding shares read of over 476 million, but the float's only 76 million. So there's some probably prefers or RSUs or something that they're trying to buy back here.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm just only looking at this and just kind of figuring out what's happening here. It's interesting that and you also have a high short interest. It looks like 41.5%.
Yeah,
this is a short squeeze.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying there. That one definitely short squeeze potential. ABTS, this was a pop in the drop. I can come back to this if anyone's interested in this, but that one kind of not great. This is one that we've traded before. That's ANY. This is Sphere 3D. This traded up to about 435, looks like the top, before coming back in a little bit. It's still higher by 72%. Sphere 3D and Cathedral Bitcoin announced the closing of a business combination. So we can dive into that and see what that business combination is in a little bit here. Not a whole lot of short interest on this name, only 3%, 1 day to cover. That's pretty negligible. Float on this 4 million. It's already way above its average. Its average is less than 1 million. We've done 39 million here today. So ANY might also be in play here today.
I feel just briefly reading this, and maybe I'm wrong, but just briefly skimming through this news here from this morning. It seems like they're only acquiring Cathedra Bitcoin for their capacity to be a data center, or that level of compute. I think that's what I'm getting here. I don't necessarily think that they're going to try to operate this as a miner, but I'm just like I said, I'm just skimming through this.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I got from that. Maybe I'm wrong, but that seems what it seems like it is to me.
Okay, we already talked about Mask. That should do it here for the movers. Barb asking about Repel. That's Replimune. That's REPL is the name of the ticker. This spiked on Friday. It looks like it spiked again here in the pre-market, but basically come right back down to where it closed. You had said here it hit 10 plus last night, but it's dropped back to 850, and it just got fast tracked by the FDA. That was the news that we got on Friday, wasn't it?
Looks like there was news on Sunday.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah. The news on Friday, this was the 8 a.m. PR on Friday. They planned the RP1 BLA resubmission following the discussion with the FDA. They presented on...
I remember this one now. Sorry.
It's okay. On Saturday, we got a PR here, the 3-year landmark overall survival analysis for its IGNITE clinical trial. And that was during the ASCO meeting. And we also got another one here, first in-human data for RP2 in advanced solid tumors during the oral presentation. So this is basically the ASCO conference. Replimune has news coming out about it. Barb, just to kind of go back to your question here, I would just trading-wise, like I would want it to kind of hold this area that it had from Friday. This pop here today, I'm not terribly worried about it giving back the pop from the pre-market here today. I'd be concerned if this really started to give back the pop that it held on Friday. That's what I'd be worried about. 13, I'm going to step away real quick. Do you want to cover this one, or do you want to cover a different one? I'll set it up for you.
Well, I could just talk about this one while you're stepping away, but so go for it.
Okay, BRB.
Yeah, this one, I don't know if he mentioned it, but it has some very high short interest. 56% of the float short. Now, the days to cover is 2.83, so it doesn't really fit our parameter, but still, I think that that heavy percentage of the float shorted is going to weigh on there being limited downside. At least that's what could possibly happen here. I think we're looking at maybe a break over 9 as being a big resistance area. What did we close at on Friday? We closed at 869, but we did try to take out 9. We also have this 500-day SMA that's right in this in the way here of the upside. That value I have. I don't see that. Hold on 1 second. 889. So I think that if this does squeeze, we're gonna probably see a big move through 9 if we even get. I'd be keeping an eye on 9. That's what I would do with our APL. There's some other levels we could look at here. 10 certainly looks like a big level of resistance, but and that could be where the next shorts are hiding. But yeah, I think 9 and 10 big levels for RAPL, especially with that short interest. We'll see what we end up getting this morning. Let me look and see what we got here on a smaller time frame. So we are sinking. We did climb all the way up to 1264 in the pre-market, so we did get a lot of that movement, but we couldn't hold above 10. Just pointing out the high short interest of this one. 56% of the float shorted, so could see this squeeze. It did have a big move in the pre-market here that went past a lot of these levels I'm looking at, but we'll see what we end up getting out of the open. The 200 EMA is the current support right now.
Yep, indeed. Okay, 13, we've got 7 minutes left. Is there anything else? And it looks like really quick, quick check-in on the S&P. So it tried to bounce a little bit, rolled back over to the pre-market lows. 755 looks to be the support. We'll see if this holds here. 13, anything else you want to take a look at?
Nothing in particular. You got my email from this morning, right?
I did, but I had a lot to do this morning. I didn't really go through it, so I don't know. So don't quiz me on it, 13. You're just going to embarrass the shit out of me.
Okay, that's no problem. It was just, you remember how I was talking about, the box office? It's probably back in April. We were talking about how I was hearing about Mandalorian and Grogu not tracking well with younger audiences, and how I thought that because it has a very big internet following, that Backrooms would end up doing really well. If you look at my email, it it's all of that, but also some ideas about how to play this too. Obviously, I'm going to harp on Disney because their Lucasfilm segment has just been absolute trash since 2020. And they've got other problems too, but that particular segment of their business has just been not making great movies or good business decisions for that matter. They've cost the company a lot of money. So I think if you're wanting to play Disney to the downside, it would be for that reason. Otherwise, some of these other theater or studio names. I'd be keeping an eye out there on them for looking at talent and hiring talent off of the internet like YouTube, where a lot of these successful films right now are being made from as these creators on YouTube. All the two of the top movies right now, Backrooms and Obsession, are made by people from YouTube. So maybe you could even play Google, or what? It's just one more reason to own Google, because you have a lot of these content creators on there that are just absolutely killing it. Not just on the content creation, but also on the news front.
So that's exactly what I was just thinking as you were running this down. I'm looking at the Disney chart here. 13, we have a long-term channel here. Mm-hmm. It sure sounds like we're spinning a bearish thesis here. So maybe Disney, we're sitting here at 101 and change. Maybe Disney towards 80 and then Google to the upside. So short Disney, long Google on this theme?
If that's the way you want to play this, that's certainly a way you could do it. Of course, Lucasfilm is just one part of Disney. They've got a lot of other business segments, but if you're looking to trade the movie industry in any capacity, there's very limited ways to do it. But Disney to the downside is kind of the way I've been talking about it, since they just have not been putting out great stuff.
No, they really haven't. And I love the other angle of this with the whole YouTube thing. I like Google anyway. That's just one more reason to own this long term.
Yeah. But the YouTube angle. One great thing that I love pointing out about the email I sent you was, Backrooms made 118 million over the weekend. The movie cost about 10 million to make, and the marketing budget was 15 million. So they're already, it's already a success. It's already a massive success. Mandalorian and Grogu, that cost 165 million to make, and they spent more than 100 million on the budget. They're going to have to get upwards of over 500 million in order to break even. And they're not near that yet, because they only have pulled in, I think it's 277 million worldwide. And they just saw a 70% drop over the weekend in ticket sales. So it's not looking good.
Okay. All right. What else do we want to take a look at before the open here? We're less than 3 minutes until we open here. S&P futures keep dropping here, 754.85. So we're actually below the pre-market lows there. See, that's Apple's oil still at the highs. That's at 92 and change on the futures. The VIX ticked up 1620. Man, we were just talking too with our guest earlier about buying protection when it's cheap, not when you need it. It wasn't even an hour after that we had this move down here. Lance wants to take a look at USO levels. Guess we could do that here real quick before we open. Less than 2 minutes till we open. Here's what the USO looks like. We've been charting this one. Hey, look at this. We basically traded back down to the support area of the broadening formation that we have here on the daily chart, and now we've bounced. This bounce took us above the 50. We actually closed the gap up here towards 136. I would say next upside spot here is probably 140, Lance. Downside here, I don't necessarily care so much about this 50-day moving average as I do about the trend line that's on the bottom. So this is going to be headline driven. Let's see if we get anything that kind of drives this back the other way. We'll see. So far here, bearish outlook going into the open.
Yeah, it looks like 140 is going to be a resistance area to the upside. Just looking at a daily chart, it looks like that could be a spot. Yeah.
Yep. So you and I are in agreement with our upside level then. Yeah. That for sure. That looks to be the next spot there. Go Steve. This is an interesting question. Any talk of an MU split?
Maybe just here. I've been thinking that's something that is probably going to end up happening. But one of the things that and there it is. We had 1,000, so perfect. Hey, Lion, there. How about that? I think you said next week, and because I was wondering myself, when are we going to see 1,000? I think you said Monday. So here we are. But the problem that I have with this is that if you do split this, you're going to probably see this not trade that well again, because you're going to go from a 1.12 billion float to a 2 point. If you cut it in half or split in half, it's going to be almost a 2.25 billion share float. And that's going to law of large numbers will start to come into play. It'll trade a lot harder. You might even see prolonged downside for a time after that split. This is a lot of these post splits have occurred before. And there we are.
We are open. And Jay, this is a really interesting mention here. INDI, that little semi name, they bought a ton of the 7.5 calls the last 2 weeks. Indeed, 10,000 in the open interest there. That's an interesting one, Jay. I appreciate that alert. I did not have my eye on that. All right, we are open here. Market is lower. Let's see what we got.
All right, and then as far as the names we were looking at this morning, let's make sure I get all here. So TGHL halted. Looks like it's halted the upside after a gap down open. So that's halted at the moment. REPL, that's halted at the upside. HKIT is facing some seller at 320 right now. It's not really doing much at the moment. GNTA opened and went lower, trying to find some support around the 170 area.
Okay, let me check in on Micron here real quick.
Yes, REPL is halted up.
REPL indeed halted. Micron going above the pre-market highs, trying to anyway.
There it goes.
Whisk mentioning Mask. Let's take a look at Mask here. Mask going above the pre-market highs. Good mention, Whisk. SPCE, the pre-market high 826. This fighting to get through its VWAP right now. GNTA 13 mentioned that one out of the open. That's trying to get back above its 65 EMA. Several of you were mentioning FLNC earlier. This ripped out of the open, so that pre-market pop. This now going higher. FLNC.
This one is one we traded like a couple of weeks ago. I'm just keeping an eye on it. AIIO. This ran up to 393 this morning. It's back down here around $3, where I think there's support. If we hold $3 and start to trade back up towards VWAP, I'd be watching for a break over VWAP. It looks like this could make some more moves here, but this is something I'm watching right now. Not
okay. Yeah, I can't get above that VWAP just yet. We'll see though.
FLNC, another one we've traded before, that had a nice move out of the gate here.
Just mentioned that. Just mentioned that one.
You did? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
It's okay. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. It happens to me all of the time. All right, so the market so far, so the Nasdaq and the SPY so far have bounced. I don't, no indicator, or excuse me, no buy signal from the 0DT indicator yet. Palantir's pulling, Amazon pulling, Costco pulling, PayPal pulling, Tesla pulling.
Okay.
INDI trading up. That is $5. Bob mentioning RCAT. Take a look at some of those drone names. RCAT up 7% here today. All right, RCAT. So this is the big winner in the drone theme here this morning, right? Is UMAC? Yeah, UMAC's down 3.7%. Ondas, that's down 2.5% after a big move to 13. NVIDIA is flying, says Joe. Sorry, I don't have that up here. I do see a whole bunch of NVIDIA calls crossing the wire. More FLNC calls, by the way, and BB calls. So 3 stocks that we've been talking about here. Here's NVIDIA.
Yeah.
220 coming on NVIDIA, it looks like.
Yeah, this is, I think we're going to see BlackBerry. We're so close to 10 now, but that's a level we've been keeping an eye on for last month. I think we'll see it. I think we're going to see 10 pretty soon. What happens after we hit that? Not sure. Maybe we go to 12. could see that happening too. Maybe we come back in. Looks like RGTZ having a pretty decent morning.
Yeah, I would imagine with all that stuff pulling here, those inverse ETFs going to be pretty good. Starwood under 17. I've been adding to Starwood the last couple of weeks. I might wait that out a little bit. Swarmer doubled while you were on vacation. Where'd you go, Jay? How was your vacation? Did you play any golf? Scott mentioning Dell. Dell's been a monster. Dell above 450, up another 6.5% here today. By the way, the SPY basically had a reflexive bounce back to VWAP and was rejected. So now that we've done that, okay, now let's see where we end up going here. Look at this move on Dell. Guys, go buy a Dell.
Just waiting for TGHL and REPL to unhalt.
Mask was also halted, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that.
Mask is halted. You did. Also, STG is
TGHL open.
And it looks like it might go into another halt right away. And then REPL is open now.
REPL is open indeed.
Looks like GNTA is trying to get going here. It's come up to a resistance area 230. This was a support area in the pre-market prior to losing it at about 825 this morning. Now we're coming back up to recapture.
Your AIIO, that is going towards the VWAP. I think you talked about that being first target. This is restricted in Schwab as well. 334, that VWAP. That just pushed above 325.
Yeah, right to the VWAP is where it's probably going to go. That's where I expect to see some resistance, but we could move through it too. Big seller at the way at 350.
All right, market is still trying. It's flirting with. I'm going to wait. I can be patient here and see what it does with the VWAP on Monday morning here. Look at Rivian. So Rivian made a nice move on Friday. This making another move here today.
REPL coming back in after printing a slightly higher session high.
Yeah, Trey, I've heard good things about those Dell XPS laptops. Don't use them myself, though. I'm a fan of the Mac laptop. Even though I'm a PC guy, I really love that MacBook Pro. See how NVIDIA is doing here. NVIDIA is still, okay, so it can't get above 220. So that's going to be the line in the sand here today.
AIO tickled VWAP, not above it yet.
Retro says, I still got my Rivian. What's the plan for Rivian? You bought a... Carlos, did you have your restriction thing disabled on Schwab? That would have probably let that one be traded. I did not do that. I got the rejected claim trying to buy that on the 325 break. ARM up 15%. ARM right at those pre-market highs. Kathy, let me ask you, if ARM is rejected, if it can't take this out, would you be thinking any regression back to the mean? Or I guess maybe not even just you, but anyone else? See if ARM can get through 410. Yes, Carlos, you did. Okay, so you had that removed. Well, that's good confirmation that that works then, if you get that removed. Good stuff, Carlos. Starting to see some bounces in some of the names that sold off, namely Palantir, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, and Tesla have not started. Palo Alto has bounced back too. Jay, can you think of a better insider buy trigger than the Palo Alto CEO buying 10 million worth of stock? That thing traded up like 130 points from that entry. I can't think of a better one personally. CoreWeave also on the scanner here. CoreWeave making a move out of the open. What do you got, 13?
Nice. Just was mentioning that because we looked at it before, but Dollar General is coming away from the consolidation area where this price was kind of hanging out at for pretty much the entirety of May. I think this established a bit of a bottom here for us. We've recaptured the 500-day SMA. We're going to hopefully see our third close above the 20-day SMA today. They do have earnings tomorrow, so I think this we might see this turnaround accelerate back up to the upside here if these earnings are favorable enough. But I think this is I was talking about it here when it was consolidating. This is the spot that I was waiting for it to come back in. Started to re-enter this. We'll see if this ends up taking off like I think it's we're going to start to see a price recovery on.
And 13, I'm sorry, man. I was fixated on NVIDIA breaking 220 here. What stock is it that you were just looking at there?
Dollar General.
DG. Jay saying that Jamie Dimon buy years ago. Okay. I meant, I guess, a little bit more recently. I didn't really give you a time frame, though. So that's my bad, Jay.
Mask open and going higher.
Indeed. It's smoking, you could say.
673. You know what's funny is that's not the first reference I thought of when I saw a mask. It was the that 1980s cartoon. Remember that? But it was spelled with I think 2 Ks or 2 A's or something like that.
No, don't remember that one. I'm sorry.
And it just the theme song is kind of just repeating in my head. It's kind of funny.
CRM,
there it is, 673. Boom. Sorry.
That's all right. CRM pre-market high. Looks like I just had now flash on the scanner there and then disappear. Several of the other names we're looking at, like Palantir and BlackBerry, now on the scanner. Here's now. Now might be curling, but let's see if we get 140 today. And Jamie Dimon's busy undermining the Clarity Act. Joe, it's good to see you again. Welcome back, Joe. The viewer.
Mask into some resistance. Maybe there's a bit of a tough spot in the I think it just hit it. Maybe a little bit shy, but if we do manage to get past 7, I think 875 is the next area we're going to want to keep an eye on for resistance in Mask.
Okay, so that market bounce basically took SPY right to the VWAP, and it pulled off that area. We'll see if we get another opportunity here.
Looks like TGHL is in its 3rd halt now. This thing just wants to try and get going here, and the market keeps halting it.
250, it looks like it wants to try and break above that, honestly. Jay here saying Google, Amazon, very weak in all of this. Tesla too. I'm guessing it's the source of funds. You're guessing Google, Amazon, Tesla are the source of funds for the what source of funds for the SpaceX IPO? Let me know. I might be confusing that, Jay, with a couple of other things. I don't want to misquote you.
I think my correlation would be because this is causing oil to spike back up again. It's hitting the consumer discretionary sector, and Amazon and Tesla are the 2 largest holdings of that particular sector, or 2 biggest presence in that sector. So I think it's weak on consumer discretionary being down over the strikes on Iran again. At least that's what I would correlate it with.
Joey says, I heard this was the best squawk for traders. I mainly focus on SPX. Any thoughts? I would say that the squawk within Pro, which is the platform that I'm sharing, Charlie's been doing it for 20 plus years. Actually, I think he's approaching 30 years now. He is absolutely the best in the business at that. He's the reason I bought this long before I worked here. So for the squawk on Benzinga Pro, I have a very high opinion of it.
Here's another one that's starting to get going here that we traded before. PCLA, Picosella. That's up 11%. It's had a big move that took it up to 1032. Opened down at around 875. Looks like REPL is coming back to its open. HKIT has done nothing. GNTA trying to decide which direction it's going to go. As long as we If we can get back above VWAP, we might be able to go higher, but we're having trouble getting back above it at the moment.
ASTC, this is that new space stock that we talked about. This is coming in a little bit.
It's about time. This thing went on a huge run. Oh, wow. I didn't even notice we got up that high. We went up to almost 70. Jeez.
Market is trying to pop and go higher here, it looks like. 656.5. See if this gets bought back. I do have a signal for the 0 DTE on SPY. Didn't take it myself. See if we come in a little bit here and then hold.
So grid dynamics, Jay, that's what you're looking at here?
Looking around at a couple of things.
I'll look at this one. I mean, AI and grid, speaking my language. Looks like this just had earnings at the end of April. Looks pretty good. I mean, their Q2 not so much, but fiscal year 2026 not bad.
Retro, enjoy your time. I will always take pictures of classic cars. I'll tell you that much right now. So you will. I would definitely love to see those. Have a good one though. Have a good one.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, that is gonna be super cool.
Kathy mentioning LMT, recent IPO up 33%. Let's see what they're about.
ELMT, it sounds like.
The LMET Group. Machinery. Okay, here we go. Precision engineered components and high-end systems for aerospace, defense, and government, and industrial, medical, and semiconductor. We are now open with TGHL, by the way. We just had earnings on Friday. At least that's what
10.5% of the float shorted on this. 3 days to cover, so it's not high, but it's elevated short interest there.
So this just came out in April. Okay.
So the audio squawk on Benzinga Pro is different than what you guys are doing here for free. Yes, absolutely. The squawker on Pro has been, like I said, has been doing it for nearly 3 decades. That's all he does is he squawks news. This is more of just like a trading community here that we run for a couple hours right in the pre-market and then about an hour into the session. If what you're looking for is actionable trading signals from an audio feed, Joey, you definitely want Squawk in Benzinga Pro, 100%. Okay, got another buy signal here on my 0 DTE indicator. We'll see if this ends up ripping. We need to get back above 757, I think. And I haven't seen any other headlines come out about that. See if I missed anything. Nope, not yet. Not yet.
Okay, so just to try to do a quick bit of searching around here regarding the LMET Group. Because this is in the aerospace machining industry, I thought maybe there's a connection here to SpaceX. It doesn't seem like there is, but there is a connection to NASA space launch system and their Orion space capsules. They specialize in high performance refractory metals like tungsten and I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, molybdenum.
Oh, that wasn't bad.
Molybdenum, sorry. Anyway, that's what they do. Rockets are going to be cool. All right, let's see what we got here. It looks like we got this bounce here in SPY, but I don't know that we're going to hold. Looks like we're having trouble trying to recapture 5.56 and 50 cents. Right back up to it right now. This is the shot we need. I mean, if we can recapture it here, maybe we'll climb back up. But if not, then I think we go lower.
TTD, even the dog is up. Nikhil saying, does MU going over 1,000 trigger any additional buying from the big funds? I don't think so.
Maybe there may be some funds that would add more on that momentum. I can't say for sure though, and don't quote me on that. But when there's certain, depending on how a stock moves through certain levels, some funds will look at it and be like, oh yeah, this thing's going to continue higher, and they'll buy it. But I don't know if they're going to be holding for very long, or if that's just a trade or whatever. But they will look at that movement, and if it looks like there's a lot of weight behind that move through 1,000, yeah, I think that you'll see some funds try to trade that.
Palantir looks like that might be trying to go towards the pre-market highs. By the way, PayPal's back on, Ondas back on, Netflix and Apple also trying to bounce. Amazon might be trying to bounce as well, even with oil ticking higher.
Yeah, it looks like we're trying to still get above that 750.
Yeah, we are. Here, I'll put it up on screen so we can take a look at that. I've been trying to look at individual names while we talk about this, but
we had that move with AIIO up to VWAP, still struggling to get back above that. It's actually backed off from VWAP, and now it's trying to hold above some of the smaller EMAs.
All right, so here, SPY looks like this is new intraday highs. So basically, what level did you want to see this get back up to?
I wanted to see this, recapture 756.50.
756.50. Okay, that's right where we're at right now.
Yeah. Need to see it close over that. Finally getting some movement from HKIT. It just, out of nowhere, finally moved off at 65 EMA, went through VWAP, and now it's coming back down to test VWAP after reached that 370 area. We got a little pump move happening here with this. I think this is the China name, right? HKIT.
I can go back to HKIT here in a second. Just wanted to check Ondas. This is also at the highs here today. Let's go here. HKIT.
It is. Yeah. It's just starting to get some movement finally. I don't know if they're going to hit it or not, but it's starting to move from the nothing it was doing earlier.
Okay. Well, we really need to get this above 375 first, right? Like we need to take out this VWAP, I feel like.
Is that where your VWAP is? Oh, okay.
I got it at 375 here. Yeah. On HKIT.
Yeah, there is a bit of a seller in the way too, but not so large that it shouldn't be able to take it out. So you just start seeing some of those buyers come in, and it looks like we're going to hit it. And there we go. Just took it. Well, it tried to hit it and go over there. It's got knocked back down, but we're hammering that 370 spot.
Yes, we are.
Looks like HKIT. Yep. Looks like the next spot of resistance is going to be up around 389, 390.
Several of you folks mentioning Riot as well. So Riot, nice little reversal here. I think Mara also got mentioned. We'll take a look at that real quick as well. Okay, so both of those pretty good reversals and bounce. Bitcoin on the lows, interestingly enough. So actually Bitcoin at 71,500. Bitcoin out running the risk of breaking into the 60K handle. Yeah, Bitcoin not ripping. This is an interesting move here in these miners.
It is. The miners are up and Bitcoin's down.
Correct.
Oh. Okay.
And here's USO. This is continuing here.
This is a good entry for Rocket Lab. I mean, I don't know what your plan is if you're trying to go long for an investment or a day trade. I mean, I don't know that I can necessarily give a good opinion on that because when I bought this was, down in the 40s.
IGV curling a little bit here. That's the software. Is anyone still trading this software ETF, IGV? I know that this was popular for a while here amongst this group, but
I'll tell you this, Emil. I think that this still looks like it has some more downside to go if you're looking to go long for more than just a day trade. Let's see if it can hold above the 20-day SMA. That's going to be at 120.50 right now. So let's see if that holds up because that's a clear support and resistance area on our way up here. Let's see if that holds. And if it does, maybe that's a good spot. But I think we're still going to see some lower prints from here.
Snow, we talked about this. Remember, Dan Ives said he saw another 10% from where we're at now. Snow up 5% from the close on Friday. Market tick chart has gone positive despite the S&P really kind of sitting here.
H kit looking for 4. This ended up being pretty good, and there it goes. Through 4, went as high as, I think, 415, 413, sorry. Now it's at 415, 420, 423.
I like the subtle nod from 13 there.
Just make sure you're paying yourself. Remember, this is a name that's
definitely.
moving on no news. It just, we watched it. We just waited. It started going. We took a look at it. We got some levels to watch for. It's, been taking those out. Don't get too complacent with this upside. Make sure that you're paying yourself. I don't know where the party ends here, but the next resistance I see is going to be up at 460.
Market coming back in a little bit here, so really not able to make a meaningful move above the VWAP there.
Have you thought about, did you answer Trade Blue before? K-Web, C-Web?
No, I haven't answered that. I generally don't take long-term positions on some of those Chinese names, but I will say that the ETF route that he's talking about is the way better way to do it.
And yeah,
I don't have any on that. What's up? What do you?
Nothing. I don't.
You're thinking about the answer? Gotcha.
I was gonna, trying to think about how I was gonna frame what I was gonna say, and I just, I'm just more focused on what's happening with the H kit right now because this thing is still going. It's gonna go into an upside halt.
Let me put that back on the screen here. AAIO, by the way, got rejected at its VWAP.
Brad
said anyone that was trading H kit. I'm not on this one.
Yeah, trade. I think that it's not a bad idea whatsoever. I just, for me, it's just I don't want to take a position in those for longer than a day trade. Is all. And then there's, you also have yin and yang that have worked really well. Those are the ones that I've traded in the past for against China movement. All right, let's see. Yeah, that was pretty good. I was kind of worried we weren't going to get anything great this morning, but it came through. It's, even though I don't trust it at all.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Just like I said, just make sure you're paying yourself on the way up here. It could still make another move higher. It might just completely knife right out of the halt here. I do not know. He wants $5. Get that money, Christoph.
I mean, it's only 20 cents away from that now.
And we could pop right up there and then come right back in.
Yeah. Several of you guys were talking about TDIC. That's I guess that is spiking here. That's a penny stock. What was the other one? HUBC? Was that the other one from last week? HUBC?
Yeah, we were talking about that one. Oh, the TDIC one. Yeah, this one was the crazy mover, the ridiculous one that I was texting you about and joking about.
Yeah. Yeah, HUBC. Okay, so this is up 88%, but this is only at 49 cents there. Okay, I just wanted to check and see what we had in there.
Oh yeah, lots of these space stocks down. Fine, perfectly fine. We've had a great run. It was a big run, and I think we're going to get some cooling. But we still have the SpaceX IPO roadshow is next week.
Yeah.
So it could be a bad week for space stocks. I think a lot of the things that have run recently could weaken. Would make sense to me.
Here's right now, by the way, this actually looks like this might try to go back towards 140.
By the way, that was a great mention on Starwood being under 17. I think under 17 is a great spot for picking up Starwood.
Yeah, it is. And I'm sorry if it sounded like I was poo-pooing it earlier. I've just been adding a bunch to it, but here we go, right back above. Selena, another good one. Market is kind of rolling over here, so that first bounce didn't really do a whole lot. Actually, kind of just rejected at the 9 EMA and the VWAP. That's what it looks like.
Looks like TGHL is halted again, this time to the downside. So this
party
might be over here. It's down to a support area at the 185 level. If we on a halt, and we continue lower, there's going to be support at like the 145, 150 area. If we don't get it there, I would say the 65 EMA, which is down at 115. Space stocks? I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't think right now is you're going to want to do that, because it looks like some of these names are still going to come in. And there has been names that I've been talking about for a while that I think we should have been positioning ourselves for earlier. Ahead of the IPO, let's let this week develop a little bit more and see how much they continue to come in. We'll find the deals, but I don't think today is the day for it.
All right, what else we got here?
I'm just, I'm kind of searching around here for something that looks interesting, and a lot of the stuff that was doing great last week is looking pretty weak right now, and obviously it's because the whole narrative with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz has changed again. Things were looking positive last week, like a deal might be imminent, and then of course over the weekend, now we're back to striking each other again. BBAI did. I mean, it's trying to get above 530. That seems to be the spot right now. I think maybe if you're on BBAI and you're trying to trade this, because this had a great Friday, it had a great week last week. I think Thursday was the better day. Yeah.
I'm trying to load it here. Let me refresh Pro.
Okay. I think that if you can get above 530 and we can start closing, like trading above it today intraday, I think you could see continued upside from that. 530 looks like the spot to me with the resistance. That's just what it looks like to me. It is, Jay. Bifurcated market is very, very difficult right now. JBS, this is a stock that was talked about by a leading investment management team based in the Netherlands, mainly beef. I want to say
on which one? Sorry, let me go back.
JBS.
Let me get it here.
Okay. Let's see here. And what's the thought with this one?
And while you're waiting for that, Lion, you were talking about FLNC, I believe. Let me know. You said it was the next bloom. Give me some more on that. And yes, folks, I am also noticing some execution issues on Thinkorswim. Although I haven't really done a whole lot, I'm definitely noticing a little bit of lag out there. So just be careful. Just be careful. Ryan, could you have a look at the Google chart? Sure. Sure we can. Here's what Google looks like. So 372. Here's what your daily chart looks like. So I think you're, Joe, I think you're wondering where's the buy spot on this, right? So we have like this, basically this gap that fills, it looks like 364 down to about 351. Looks like there's a gap in there. I think if we hold above that, maybe we go higher. If we lose that, though, I think you can probably wait out 350. I am as well on Thinkorswim. I have a message that says failed to deliver your order to the Thinkorswim platform electronically because of some internet or server problems. Oh, that and Webcoin too. That is no bueno, folks. And you know what? With the delay, so I'm willing to bet that those order closings might be on delay. That is no good for day trading.
Thanks for the shout out, Ken. I don't remember exactly what I was saying about all that could take shape, but I think it was because we had this news on Friday, and Trump wanted to mull it over the weekend. I think I in jest kind of said something to that effect, but yeah, like we have these things that come out and then there's no response, but there is as soon as the market closes, and that's just something we've seen happen over the past few months. So I guess that's kind of where I was going with that, is that we might it's going to be one thing on Friday, like everything is going to be all peace olives and roses, right? And then Monday and Tuesday we're back to this again. But yeah, I don't remember exactly what I said. As far as JBS goes, I guess I'm kind of wondering if maybe this thing is not deserving of the spot that it's in right now. Maybe it's just kind of undervalued. I don't know. I'd have to do some more work on this, but is this down at some all-time lows?
So Joe's saying, I thought Google might pop on the SpaceX IPO. It obviously ain't happening. Not happening yet, though, right? Mm-hmm. Roadshow next week. Let's see if the actual event itself makes it pop.
Yeah, and when it's public, and it's trading on the market, then I think we'll see the reaction to Google as well, or the movement in Google as well, because they are a major shareholder. So it'd be like Google, it'd be Bank of America, and it'd be EchoStar. Those three I'd keep an eye on for when we IPO SpaceX, because they are holders of the stock.
And Lynn says TOS same. So it looks like everybody that uses TOS here is experiencing some kind of Monday latency issue. So maybe be careful, folks.
There you go. You were right. $5 in HKIT. This thing is still climbing.
So at least we had one of these movers for the day working out pretty well. HKIT going. Congrats to everyone that played this one.
All right, so that was through a resistance area. Next resistance area I see is going to be up in over the 6 handle. I would say 635, maybe 650. Let's see if I can get you a better spot than that. But that's what I think is next if it climbs up higher. Let's see here. Let's see what I can find for y'all. Yeah, 635 to 650 looks pretty good. Somewhere in there might be the next resistance. Could even be 6 itself, 6 to 650. But I think as soon as we get past $6, we're coming up to some resistance from February of 2024. So we'll see what happens there, I would say.
Poet up 9%, but not on great volume. Now, Poet, that got slammed, right? Yeah, this is back down at 13. So this is interesting that it is trading back up here, and it did hold the lows from Friday. That thing got pounded on Friday. Right back to where it's at. No position for me on Poet. TOS glitch interrupted my trading flow. Yeah, Buffalo, it sounds like you are not alone. And actually, Chris, you had mentioned that usually the TOS app still functions when the desktop is going through trouble. I was having trouble with the app as well.
So what do we do on days where we're having trouble with our platform?
I step back and don't trade, because I have been in an instance where I took a trade trying to scalp for like 15 cents and I couldn't close it, and the thing went against me, and I ended up taking a multi-$100 loss, like $800 loss. So I learned from that day. I was like, you know what? It didn't wipe me out, which is great, but if the platform is not reliable, just don't trade that day. I know that's hard. We're degenerate traders. But TOS is so weird. Mine's been seamless. Well, there you go.
We do have to exercise some level of discipline in order to make sure we can come back here 100%. The next day and the day after that and the day after that and keep trading. So yeah, it's going to suck that we have to step away if our platform isn't working, but you don't want to have what happened to Ryan happen to you.
And I'm not alone. Trey says Ryan's saying that happened to me, and Brian here saying he's having no issues. So it's weird like that. But that's also why I try to report them, and I try to get the community to feedback on it as well, because it happens to some, not others. And then Zach saying the interactive broker chart's not working well either. Maybe there's some data thing. I don't know.
Yes, Ken, EchoStar, ticker SATS. They have SpaceX shares because SpaceX gave them shares in exchange for, I believe it was their range of frequencies. So they're a holder now as a result of that. I expect they'll probably end up selling That would be my expectation. I think there will be selling the IPO, but it's not going to be like everybody that holds it is selling out. I don't think you'd want to completely leave your SpaceX position, but I expect there will be some profit taking.
My HKit filled, but it's not showing in my positions. Yeah, Jay was reporting the same thing. The monitor page of Thinkorswim doesn't seem to be working correctly.
Here's one that this is just awesome. Remember how much I've been talking about USAR and the thing that I needed to see happen next after we had that reversal? I think it was last month. Yeah, because we came down underneath the 50-day SMA, and then as soon as that happened, the next day we were right back above it. And the thing I was saying is, because there's a consolidation area, I don't know if you've drawn it yourself, but there's a consolidation area that goes back to when we was first coming up to these levels in October. And the thing that I was saying is that we needed to see the price go through this consolidation area. Today, we did just that. We're now above it. We gapped above the whole consolidation area. We might back test it, but we are through it now, and it looks like 32 is still possible. Let's also look at CRML because I know.
Sorry, Brian. Sorry, guys. I think they're busy looking at my option application. Brian, you're holding up the whole show again. No, we're kidding. We're kidding. SPY did try to bounce again. I'm not sure. We're not above VWAP there. SOXS, this looks like this was trying to go higher. That's the semi-short ETF.
HKit is up in that range that I was talking about, where we could see the next resistance, 6 to 650. We're coming up to 650 pretty quick here. We'll see if we get some resistance or not, or if we're just going to blast right through this thing.
Look at HKit ripping.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that is really good. Webcoin toss, can't trade with it today. Hopefully they get it resolved.
All right, getting a little. I mean, we're not turning around, but it's getting a little bit of resistance to that 650 area.
Christoph, hit my targets. I'm out. Way to go, Christoph. Registering for you. Enjoy your Monday. That's how you start off a week and a month.
That's right. Hey, he's getting some monthly inflows.
I love it. I love it. You know, speaking of monthly inflows, you think we get any of that over the course of the day here? Do you think the market trades up because of inflows throughout the course of the day?
I think you tend to see it at the end of the day. I think it's an end of day thing, especially with the funds. HKit's still trying to get through 650, and it just pushed through it. We went back up and started hammering it. Okay, next level. I'm looking for the next level now. Looks like it's going to halt at 7. And
let's see if there's anything else. Path, this has been straight up out of the open here today. Up over $1, nearly 10%.
This in an interesting spot. It's between its 500 and 200 day SMAs. And this looks like we had a triple bottom. Let's see where we go with this. Maybe we see $16. I think that's
on Path. Now it's coming back in off of its move higher, by the way. Here's Path.
We get back above that 200-day SMA, I think we see 16. 14 is going to be a resistance area. I think that's something to expect as well. But this looks like a triple bottom that we just had, in 2026 for Path. It started in February, and last bottoming was in May. So if we do get a recapture of that 200-day SMA and close over for a few days, I think that we go on to see 14 and 16. I think that's possible. That's right. I saw that, Jay. Canada's in an official recession. They are not doing. Yeah, Carney is not doing good over there.
No, he isn't, and he's also mentioning that the Montreal lost. Montreal was playing really well in the Stanley Cup Finals, but they got eliminated by Carolina. I think is going to win it now. Man, if you're not hitting the like button with these green tips coming in, you're just slow. Like. Appreciate you, Reggie. Appreciate you, buddy.
I'm right there with you, Christoph, because this thing has gone on a great run for the past half hour now, and with very little sign of downside. I think we're gonna probably see some selling maybe out of this halt, possibly. But if we do, then it's the 650 is going to be one spot. I think we test for support. If not there, maybe somewhere in the 5 handle. Any is going to bust this 3.3 consolidation.
Let me put that on screen here real quick. I still had path up here. This is also Schwab restricted, right, Kath? This was one of the ones from this morning.
I think we need to see a expansion of volume with this to do that 330 break. We're right there. You're right. There's no doubt about that. But getting through that, we need to see an expansion of volume. I don't think it's going to do it with what it's been doing over the past 15 minutes with that volume. I think it needs to be a little bit more than that. Path, in your humble opinion, is a great swing potential. Similar to now, both will now be replaced by AI. They are needed for implementing AI for my research.
Ryan, last day of NCAA golf. Okay. Golf channel today. Okay. That might be something to check. There's not much sports on today. Later. Oh, excuse me.
Was that you or the market?
Yawning?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that was me.
I mean, am I wrong? This market does feel a little bit sleepy.
No, it does. We basically sold off. Like, we've had 2 attempts at bouncing here. We got a negative headline about the talks being done, and it feels like it just kind of just sleepy. Now we are popping here. Did something just happen literally again as I said that?
Well, we're still not over that 756.50 yet.
No.
That has been the resistance since I mentioned it. Just look at all the prints above it, but no closes on the 5-minute.
Lines says, come on, Trump, we need a tweet. And that's one of the things I was thinking about here. We might get one after that headline. Haven't seen it yet, though. Now, we are trying to bounce here. S&P futures did make kind of a run at the VWAP, but it didn't even really test it.
I mean, I'm looking at the way the SPY is trading right now, and with this continued rejection of 756.50, I think that I wouldn't want to be taking anything long right now. It looks like it could still come back in some more.
Yeah, and that too. I mean, the trading SPY here, at least with the 0 DTE, has got to be quick on that. And with TOS having problems, I'll probably just put that on the back burner today. Daniel saying my TOS is still not filling closing orders. Indeed.
HKIT open. Tried to print a little bit higher than 7, and now it's pulling finally. We'll see if this actually is where the selling begins, or if this is just going to get bought and pushed higher.
Annie is not restricted on Schwab. Thanks, Kath. The thing really needs to get above its VWAP.
It's been a fun morning, though. It wasn't that great until HKIT started doing something. Then I was like, all right, we got.
Yeah, HKIT gave us something here.
Yeah, we got a little something to gnaw on for a bit. That was fun. Mask now really giving it up. This looks like it could come down to $5. Maybe get some support there.
Seeing some other prominent traders talk about the problems with Thinkorswim.
Chicago Realtor would like our opinion on Walmart.
WMT. Let me go to my bigger chart for that, because isn't that near its 200-day moving average? We talked about this on Happy Hour, didn't we?
Yes, because the thing that
Look at this. Great call.
Yeah. Well, I think that was one of the spots that we said it was going to go. I think what I was saying that I believe this goes down to was the 105 area. So I still think there's some more downside here. And I think, as I recall, I also mentioned that if we go down to the 200-day SMA and we get support there, we turn around and we come back up to 118. Now, I'm not sure that we're going to recapture and start closing over 118. I think that's going to be the resistance area, and we're going to lose it. We're going to continue to fall lower after that retest of 118, and then we head down towards 105. That's my expectation anyway. But I think one way or the other, we're going lower.
Okay, so and 105 seems to be about the bottom range of that.
105 is where I think we're going to go. I think that, like I said, I think the 200 is going to provide a brief bounce.
Okay.
And then following that bounce, we go lower.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's interesting. I can see the case for that. Personally, what I think is going to happen here is we're probably going to close. If today stays weak like it's currently at right now, I think we probably end up closing below this 200. But watch for a quick recapture. If we can't recapture this, then I would say 13 is probably just giving you the entire game plan there. Because if it, well, what do you think, 13? If we don't bounce from the 200 and instead we pull beneath it, but on the bounce we're unable to recapture it, is your short thesis down to 105 still on at that point?
Yeah, I'm just like looking at two different ways it could go down there, and I acknowledge that the 200-day SMA has provided support in the past, so I could see it doing it again.
Yeah,
but I still think because that we had this double top here over the course of 2026 so far, that there's going to be some lower prints ahead. I don't know how long we're going to spend some time underneath the 200-day SMA, but I think we are going beneath it eventually to 105.
Okay. Tara saying, restart your toss. I just did it and it straightened out the orders. Okay, so that might be a possible thing to do there.
Jesus. So HKIT's in an upside halt again. It's now halted at 863. We started talking about this when it was looking to get over 350. So it's doubled.
Yep. It's done the thing, 13.
Trey Blue says 105 is definitely where the strong support is.
Lion says 100. Yep.
Okay. I think we're all looking at the same thing here. I think we all agree it's going to go lower, and we're all thinking it's going to be in that 100 area, give or take maybe $5.
Yeah. S&P trying to bounce here. Let's see if the futures can clear out the VWAP. It's been unable to do that. I do have green breath across the board. SPY, Dow, Qs, Russell, and Nice all have green breath. The tick chart is minus 300, but that's negligible. Advanced decline line minus 430. Also pretty mediocre. Look at HKIT, though. Good Lord. NE is breaking down here. It lost 3. Selling off on volume, that's ANY. This right down to the 65 EMA. Held right there, 292. See if it breaks. It's right back on that area.
All right. Well, when it comes to HKIT, the only other thing I'd probably have to say about this is that the pre-market high was 983. If we see that, that's going to be it for me. I don't know what else is going to go. I could probably find some other levels, but they wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Maybe a stupid level here that I could give you is 24. Don't know if we'll see it or not, but once we get past those pre-market highs, it's pretty much complete gambling. Well, Reginald, hopefully you got a good amount of money out of that HKIT trade.
Yeah, it was good stuff there. Restart fixed my charts, but indicators are gone. Oh, gosh. Toss up to speed for me, says Gary. Okay, so, it sounds like they're working through their problems there. Maybe if you feel like you absolutely must trade, maybe a reduction in size a little bit might be the move, just to ensure that you can actually get filled. Any is doing its absolute best to hold the 65 EMA here. It did break through 292, but it's not breaking down further, at least not yet. AMPX, your battery play is getting a mention here in chat 13.
That's having a pretty good day.
Toss chat room in shambles. I bet they're unhappy.
Yeah, I mean, AMPX, if we're going to have a day where drones are doing well, I expect this is going to do well also. And then I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, but Deirdre, mentioning UFO. This is one of the. This is actually the space name I've talked, the space ETF I've talked a lot about until we started getting new ones like NASA. This is down actually almost 7%, likely because the all the other space names are taking the beating this today right now. So maybe this goes down to 58.40. Certainly, it's going to all depend on how these other space names go. But like I said, this is going to be probably a week where they cool off. And,
I'll tell you what, this 59 area looks kind of appealing here on UFO, especially if it held that. Because to your point about the actual IPO event, maybe this is just a cool off before the event itself.
Mm-hmm.
Nice job, Westcat. Nice job, everybody trading HKIT.
Yeah, and look at that. Now we're halted to the downside.
On HKIT?
Yep.
Look, guys, take your gains when you get them. All right, 13, we got 4 minutes left here.
But well done, everybody that was taking HKIT and putting it on their trailing stops and their stops. Great job protecting yourselves and getting a trade out of that.
Yep.
Ask Friday's high line support 550, open line 542 and 890. Okay, so you're looking at support here for Mask. Look at this.
So RGTZ, this came back in. So is Quantum bouncing then? Yes. So RGTI, that went lower out of the open, but that's bouncing here.
And IBM, of course, still ripping. We're coming up to, this is just a massive, massive move in a very short period of time. We're going to hit new all-time highs pretty soon, and then I would think that maybe there's some selling. We'll probably break through.
I'm seeing the Admiral Akbar. It's a trap meme make its rounds around the internet now, so that makes me happy since I have that on the soundboard.
For which stock, or is it just the market?
Just in general.
Okay.
The market in general.
I do not deny that. But yeah, IBM certainly going to be one of the best quantum names out there. Looking forward, Honeywell is going to be another one. Looking forward to Quantinuum IPOing. Also, Ionic, Inflection. Those are going to be two good ones. And then there was another one that I think we might also want to add to the list of really interesting names. Let me make sure I got this one correctly. QUBT, Quantum Computing. And the reason why this is so interesting is because they are they picked up a company through an acquisition. I think it was earlier this year in February, because they picked up LAZR, which was that was Luminar Technologies, and one of the companies that Luminar had originally picked up. Were they? Let me see here. They were. Hold on. Freedom Photonics, and they are involved in making free electron lasers. Free electron lasers are going to be one of the next big things used in making chips. I know I talked a lot about directed self-assembly. That's certainly going to be a big thing, but so is free electron lasers in the sense that it's going to provide uninterrupted massive amounts of UV light for the lithography process. So just something to keep an eye on here. Free electron laser is going to be a very big component in the future of semiconductor manufacturing.
13, where are the sharks with freaking lasers attached?
Oh, imagine if we had sharks making chips with lasers attached to their heads.
Maybe we get a PR coming up here. Shark Week is in 2 weeks, but I digress. 13, we're out of time here for today. This is a good start to the Monday. Any closing words for the group?
Great job protecting yourselves and sitting on your hands when TOS wasn't working. And we had some, not a whole lot of great stuff to look at until HKIT came along and gave us a great trade. So congratulations if you took that one. Come back here tomorrow. We'll find some more things to look at, trade, talk about. We'll make some money. Folks, have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy the first day of June. Goodbye.
And absolutely. Good job there, 13. We are back for a full week here again. So we'll be back at this again tomorrow. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll catch you bright and early tomorrow on Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook.